Ladies and gentlemen, I still don't have a voice, but what we do have is patch notes for Friday, December the 10th. It's not Friday. It's just not Friday, but these patch notes are odd because this update was actually relatively small on PC. For me, it was like 677 megs. I think on Xbox, it was like 2.4 gigs. But as it turns out, this update is massive. This is the largest balancing update that we have seen so far on anything, like in both multiplayer and Warzone. So starting out with weapons, the weapon motion has been updated. I could read through all of this, but a better way to show you is actually going and looking at this video. So starting out, we have the XM4. Have a look at what happens with these two weapons. The easiest thing to look at is look at the back of the weapon. Look at how much the weapon is actually shaking. They've essentially removed that completely, so it's a little bit more steady. The recoil pattern is still more or less the same, but the actual movement of the weapon is now different. So just keep that in mind. Moving past that, the next thing that we have here is aiming idle sway delay. Aiming idle sway delay on all weapons is now 2.2 seconds. Aiming idle sway delay on snipers now fully removes the idle sway rather than reducing it by 50%. Target laser now improves aiming idle sway delay to 2.9 seconds on all weapons. So what that is the amount of time it takes to aim in and idle sway to click in. This has been a problem before. It was almost instantaneous on certain weapons. Now it should be a little bit better so that you can be a little bit more snappy. Moving on to maps, we have Hacienda adjusted spawn logic. Modes, face-off domination score limit increased to 150, kill order increased to 200, kill confirmed increased to 100, and team deathmatch increased to 150. So those games should be a little bit longer. 10v10 mosh pit increased kill confirmed and team deathmatch. Prop hunt movement speeds have been increased on all props except extra large props. Round time limit reduced to 3 minutes from 4 minutes, and prop hunt enabled in private matches as well, which is cool. LTM Nuketown Holiday addressed an issue where players could have been have a green visual effects attached to them during the match. I was wondering what that was, but now that's fixed. Now, weapons. This weapon pass is massive. I'm going to go through this as quickly as possible, but keep in mind this part is for multiplayer. So XM4, they increased the range, decreased the maximum damage. Additional adjustment, headshot multiplier increased to 1.25. Attachment adjustments, CHF barrel is now increased to 1.3. Amies, they reduced the range and increased the headshot multipliers as well. GPR, reduced the range and increased headshot multipliers. You're going to see this over and over again. The Goblin MK2 increased the damage, reduced the range quite substantially, by the way, as well as they increased the headshot multiplier as well. And the CHF barrel has a massive headshot multiplier, but a horizontal view kick penalty. Model L increased the damage and increased the headshot multiplier. This makes it quite a bit better. AK-74 just increased the headshot multiplier. AS Val increased damage, decreased range, increased damage, and the headshot multiplier was decreased. This was the only weapon that was decreased as far as the assault rifles go. I don't know why. I guess they thought it was performing too well for headshots. I thought it was pretty easy to get headshots on this weapon. Might have been why. Krig C. The Krig has been the top performer since its release at the start of the season. We are adjusting its handling and recoil to balance it with its competitive TTK. So headshot multiplier increased, sprint to fire time increased very, very slightly. Tactical sprint to fire increased very slightly. View kick strength and direction increased. And view kick now progresses through the pattern in shorter number of bullets. I have actually used this weapon since the update. It still feels really, really good. Moving on to the SMGs. So decreased damage all around on the C9, but increased ranges. Headshot multiplier increased as well as the CHF barrel. KSV increased range all around and increased headshot multiplier. So just all around a buff for the KSV. Tonto increased ranges, but no increased headshot multiplier. PP919 just increased ranges. Jackal PDW maximum damage decreased, but all of its ranges and medium damage range 1 increased as well as increased headshot multipliers. This should be a pretty big buff to the Jackal PDW. The Compact 92 increased ranges and headshot multipliers. The SOG got increased ranges all around, increased headshot multipliers. The Akimbos, they increased penalties on Akimbo, and rapid fire penalty increased as well. So all around, most of the SMGs getting pretty big buffs all around. The XMG, the CHF barrel attachment view kick increased with that one. The PU-21, they increased the damage and increased the headshot multiplier on the CHF barrel. The GPMG, they have increased the damage at all ranges as well as increased headshot multipliers. Then we have the knife, baseball bat, and power drill. Basically, they have speed up the swing speeds on all of these, especially the baseball bat, so it should make using them a little bit better. Zombies, they addressed some issues on Citadel de Mor. Weapons addressed an issue where changing default attachments on blueprints would not apply and match, thank God. And then stability fixes all around. After this, we have Warzone. So Warzone, more or less, has the same updates. So again, the weapon motion and aiming idle sway have been fixed. However, the AIMEs, the CHF barrel, we don't have the increased headshot multipliers that we saw in multiplayer. They just increased the vertical view kick on the CHF barrel. The Krig C, the sprint to fire time increased, tactical sprint to fire time increased, so just like multiplayer, and more recoil on the CHF barrel for the Model L as well. The SOG, akimbo attachment, hip spread penalty increased on this one. Again, the GPMG nerfing the CHF barrels all around. The Maelstrom, the Dragon's Breath ammunition, maximum damage decreased, so they nerfed the Dragon's Breath on that one. And then they buffed the time between melee swings, improved just like multiplayer for all of the melee weapons. Then we have 3 bug fixes. They fixed an issue preventing the Battle Royale top 250 leaderboard from populating correctly, fixed an issue preventing the Grenadier or Grenader perk from slowing enemies hit by explosive, and then fixed an issue causing players to get stuck in a loading player stats loop when launching Warzone. So all around, nothing really huge to Warzone. They improved the weapon motion and the aiming idle sway. The one thing I did miss is munition and utility boxes. Both boxes have been adjusted to provide the maximum possible amount of ammunition for the primary and secondary weapons of players that it's carrying. It will no longer provide ammunition for each other ammunition type. So just the weapons that you're holding, as well as buy stations. Buy stations in Warzone ranked play will now spawn at the same time. Fixed locations in each map, identical to those found in unranked mode. So that was messed up before. This one did, however, get the day right. It is Tuesday. It is not Friday. So all in all, this is a much bigger update to multiplayer and the meta there. Warzone, really, when looking at the weapons meta, we essentially have the CHF barrel essentially nerfed all around on the assault rifles, as well on the LMGs, 2 LMGs here. Dragon's Breath getting nerfed on the Maelstrom, and the SOG Akimbo getting nerfed. That is essentially it. So much bigger update in multiplayer. Let me know what you're thinking. I think the weapon motion and idle sway is definitely a big one that is going to improve the way the game feels quite substantially. Just as I was editing the video, Treyarch also announced that they are kicking off the holidays starting Friday, turning on double XP, double weapon XP, double battle pass XP, and double gobblegum earn rate, along with the start of the multiplayer and zombies free trial this weekend. But nothing in regards to those ghost bullets, nothing in regards to fixing matchmaking, nothing in regards to anything along those lines, just essentially a weapon balancing pass. So let me know what you think of the update down in the comments. I just wanted to bring you guys the information, and either later today or potentially tomorrow, I got a new story video coming. It's a big one. I think you guys are really going to like it. So make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on. Thanks for coming out. Sorry my voice is messed, and see you guys very, very soon.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're made